What's the number one thing that people should bring to make their relationships better?
One thing that we very often do in relationships is that we project over to the other person. So we
Yes.
have a tendency to kind of like, okay, this is what they think, this is what they mean, this is what we believe.
Mhm.
But in reality, like, we're not mind readers, any of us. So you have absolutely no idea why someone does what they do. And there's a very interesting phenomenon called the fundamental attribution error. And what that means is that you have a tendency to make other people, the reason for them doing something is because of their personality, and the reason for you doing something is because of the situation.
Mm.
So if someone, say, forgets like your anniversary, it's because they don't care. But if you forget it, it was because you were busy.
That's really interesting. Yeah, that's very good.
So we make a lot of snap judgments about other people, and we project our own beliefs over to them. So I think in giving people the benefit of, giving your partner the benefit of the doubt, or the person you're dating, like, the benefit of the doubt, and to ask for with curiosity instead of with judgment, I think is very important. And the same goes, like, even if you're dating, if someone isn't replying to you or replying in a different way, like, stop jumping to conclusions and reading in a bunch of behaviors behind these things, because sometimes maybe people just don't respond because they were busy. It doesn't mean all that much always. And if you're worried, you can always like ask.
But if someone does something repeatedly, then I think you need to like maybe give them 3 or 4 chances. And then if it continuously happens after 3 or 4 opportunities, you don't always. I had someone on my podcast who said that she was in lots of toxic relationships. And she said because growing up, she had this idea that if someone is trying to make something better, you just give them, you give them the opportunity, you give them a benefit of the doubt, and you give them the opportunity. And I thought, yeah, that's 3 or 4 opportunities. And I've spoken to a guy recently who said that he had to break up with his girlfriend because she was being hot and cold all the time. And
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, probably he just said he couldn't do it anymore because it was upsetting him too much. So completely get what you mean, but don't let people take the piss.
Not at all. And I think also, like, when it comes to this, okay, what kind of rules should we use? Should I give 3 or 4 opportunities? And all of this, like, if he wanted to, he would, and all these other very popular phrases and relationship advice. I think essentially you need to look at how you're feeling. Like, is this relationship making your life better, or is it making your life worse? And like, are you feeling bad in the relationship repeatedly? Then obviously it's not really making your life better.
Is every decision an emotional decision? Can we not make rational decisions?
Yes, because the act of making a decision is created by emotions. Like, deciding between A and B is an emotionally created, is that choice is happening in the brain, part of the brain that regulates emotions.
So what does the prefrontal cortex do? I thought that was responsible for decision making,
Logical reasoning and consequence
like
decision making.
not decision making. God,
So,
that's a bit worrying, isn't it?
right. So, but deciding between two options, that would be the frontal lobe, like, okay, should I do this and should I do this, which is the best for me, weighing back and forth. But actually choosing between A and B is emotionally driven. But emotions, like, is what drives, like, emotions isn't just, okay, feelings, I feel good or I feel bad. Emotions is what drives us to do anything, to do any type of action. Everything is generated, like, an emotion is created. The reason that we have emotions at all from an evolutionary perspective is to create action, is to make us do things. Without emotions, we wouldn't do anything. So you're deciding also based on emotions, actually, either to have better or to have it, to avoid pain or to reach pleasure. That is an emotional decision.
I suppose that's why people's personality dictates the decisions they make, I suppose, because it's from the root of emotion. Oh, that's interesting. God, that's quite.
There's there's no real objectivity. We can't really be objective. It's not possible because we can't think without our brain. And your brain isn't objective. It's always going to be subjective.